Ko waio, ko Te Āti Awa, ko Taranaki te iwi, ko Joshua Hitchcock, aho. For the past 15 years, I've worked in and for Māori businesses around Aotearoa. As a commentator on Māori issues, I have a deep interest in how Māori businesses operate and how Māori contribute to and are impacted by the New Zealand economy. This documentary takes a look into the Māori economy to see how it works, what drives it, and what makes it, and the businesses who operate within it, different from the wider New Zealand economy. So I welcome you to this insight into a fascinating and growing part of the Aotearoa New Zealand economy. We are now entering a phase where businesses operating according to Māori values will have strong competitive advantage, especially in global markets. For too long, New Zealand has traded on the pretense of being a clean and green nation, and in the eyes of many consumers around the world, this has at best created an image of New Zealand as an unsophisticated economy which only produces agricultural products. And at worst, it has created a perception of greenwashing away the environmental impacts of our economic activities. The global consumer, in particular the global consumer that Brand New Zealand is seeking to attract, is a sophisticated, environmentally conscious, globally conscious consumer. Their values are now starting to align with long established and practiced Māori values.
We did a study around the Māori marine economy. We wanted to get a good idea about kaitiaki business models. So what we've found is that the best Māori businesses, those that are performing the best, most profitable, are also performing the best environmentally, are also performing the best culturally, and are also performing the best socially. And I think that's pretty interesting, and I think it's driven by that Māori understanding of Mori, because it's not like how much can we get out of this environment, it's how much can we give to it and it gives back to us. And we found that, they just work together. The more you focused in on your kaitiaki tanga, the more profitable you were. And it actually was interesting because it didn't work the other way. The Māori entities that focused more on profit, right, and perhaps without worrying about kaitiaki tanga so much, they didn't perform as well as those that really zeroed in on the kaitiaki tanga, whanaunga tanga, and into the environmental areas led to them being more profitable. And I think it's just because you start firing on all cylinders when you're driven from that kind of values position.
Our fish, we're making sure that the fish that we're sourcing is sustainable. You know, we use tikanga Māori such as kaitiaki tanga in everything that we do. It's not just about the bottom line, it's about the bottom line as well as being good citizens and leaving this planet in a better condition than the way we found it.
Kaitiaki tanga, whanaunga tanga, manaaki tanga, those three words are used a lot. But I think it's that ethos that we have in the company that has been a big part of it growing, more so than anything else.
I really love the values, I really love the long-term view, I really love the fact that we're about communities, well-being, the land, that this is going to be here for our next generation.
So it's taking things that Māori have known for generations and being able to repackage them in a way that helps contribute to society on a whole nother level, and we're getting some really solid results. The Mori, or the energy that we're able to create, people can feel that, it emanates.
That's the thing that we want to encourage in our youth, is we want them to grow out of that bracket of, to be Māori is to be poor, to be pohara and not have mean ideas and be whakamā and all this stuff. It's like, nah, I'm sure everyone's waking up to this thought of revitalisation in our culture. In business, we're using the business to maintain a lifestyle that is sustainable and grow ourselves and learn our culture along the way.
It has to be more than the words up on the wall, so that hand on heart we can say every one of us is adhering to those values which have a very long-term impact. So how do we put into practice values like kaitiakitanga, manaakitanga, rangatiratanga are, I think, the most important questions facing all Māori entities today. So kaitiakitanga is a really good example of the work we're doing at the moment. So we have orchards, we have vineyards, so we're developing a Māori framework to make assessments. What's the impact on our soil? What's the impact on our products? And more importantly, what is the impact on people?
Wairarapa moana, that's really entrenched across the whole business. It's all about the integrity of who we are.
If your own culture aligns with the culture of the company you work for, there's going to be better synergies to work for that company. I think there's some deep fundamental values which I align personally to and WMI to, and it's the values around the people. A lot of people would say, well, I'm obviously not Māori, why am I so involved with a Māori company? But a lot of it is around creating something for the next generation, and you're not just looking at it in a selfish way that you're going to create all this capital and these huge assets and then just sell up. To me, that's quite selfish. So I think the ongoing thing around that is great, really.
So we've been super lucky in terms of establishing Miraka, in particular the association of Miraka with Te Āti Trust. As the Māori owners of that land, they can provide really strong guidance, leadership and support for us to express and maintain our kaitiaki responsibilities. Across the road from our factory is a geothermal electric generation plant. Our energy base is primarily from a source that is ultimately sustainable. They have an industrial scale worm farm, so all of our organic waste can be processed by the worms, which creates compost. Te Āti also have a native plant nursery, so the compost can feed the plants, which we can then plant along all of our farm supply. So all of these things kind of fit into a relationship that ultimately becomes enduring and self-sustaining. Lovely to see you.
Māori values are not just things you say. They are an ethos, a way of being that is lived, believed and expressed. And for those businesses that truly commit to these values, it represents a unique trading proposition for their business and for Aotearoa.
As Māori, great storytellers. If you've got an idea that's going to change the world or change communities or solve a big problem and you're really focused, you tell a great story around it, then you can go do it.
Our local stories, our history, the language, the visuality of culture built into everything that we do.
Māori businesses have been really innovative. What they've done is they've taken sort of best practice from around the world in different places and applied them to the New Zealand context, bringing all these unique stories that Māori have to offer around the sustainability and how they can tell that to the consumers around the world. So on that front, that's where I think, these are some of the innovative things that have been happening.
Those values that we can learn from our stories, that's what we're trying to teach. And that mirrors and resonates through cultures all across the world.
So it's definitely important for the world to catch on to some of the things that are just so ingrained in us as people.
I suppose that's the wero, to try and inspire Māori to actually get out there and start building your own brands up. Every time you put on a t-shirt, you're a walking billboard. There's an opportunity there to send a message to the world. Are you going to send a Nike swoosh, or are you going to send a kia mau ki tō reo Māori? What are you going to do? That's really how Māori we should be thinking, because we are entrepreneurial. If Maui was here, he'd be killing it. He'd own half the city. But, we've been told for so many generations that we're not worthy, that we can't do that. But it's wrong, we can. Our ancestors did it. Our ancestors were the ultimate entrepreneurs. We just forgotten, we've lost our way. And we just need to get back on the udder, get back on the pathway, and start doing that,
Māori businesses are now controlling their narrative, from concept to product to marketing, backing our stories and our storytellers, opening up a whole new realm of opportunities around the world.